Good evening. So the thing is like, today we need to see regarding that form dot, like form in the React JS. Okay. So the thing is like, basically in the React, okay, in the React, uh, the forms are the essential in the web application for the collecting the user input. Okay. The thing is like collecting the user input, collecting the user user input. Okay. And so the second thing we can say, it's enabling the search, enabling the searches, and for example making the payments. Okay. So we have so many things. Okay. So basically the forms are essentially in the web applications, okay, for collecting collecting the user inputs, and that enabling the searches, okay, and making the payments. Okay. For example, here you can see there is a form in React. So where we can see, so for example you can see, mm, real time, real time. Okay, wait a minute, so I have to pause. Yeah, just you can take that example for the that enabling search and making the payments. Okay, we'll discuss you in the upcoming things. Okay. The thing is like, basically the forms are, okay, essential in the web applications for the collecting the user input and enabling the searches, and making the payments. Okay. So basically in React, okay, the form handling is different from that plain HTML. Basically this is like this form in the React, this form relies on the state management, state management, state management. Okay, to manage the user input efficiently. So basically this form handling differs from the plain HTML. Okay. So in the plain HTML, so we don't have the state management, but in the React, the form handling differs from the plain HTML, as it relies on the state management. Make sure that the state management to manage the user input efficiently. So what are the key concept in the React form handling? So React, that form handling, what are the key concepts? The thing is like, first thing we have discussed regarding the state management, state management. Okay. So in the React, okay, the form inputs, okay, are tied with that component state. Okay. Basically in the React, okay, the form inputs are tied with the component state. So you already say, have done that input, you handle that using value and on change. Okay. So basically the first point what we have did in the state management, so in the React the form inputs are tied with the component state. Okay. And the second thing, that React uses the use state to manage the form data. Okay. So like suppose for example I'll create here one input. Here I'll create the input. Okay. So we need to handle this input, we need to handle this input. Okay. So in the React, if you want to handle this input, in the sense you have to create one state, const, okay, state and set state. Okay. Here use state Okay, so here the first thing you have to give the value. Okay, in that value you have to store the current state, and that in the there is a one event called on change. That is on change. Okay, so here you need to pass that event. Okay, event dot target dot set state, that event dot target dot value. Okay, so basically the first thing what we have done here, the form inputs are tied with the component state. Okay, and the React uses the use state, like this use state, to manage the form. So form in the sense it's an input. Okay, the thing is like the basically the form updates happens to the set state. Okay, so this set state we can say. So basically like the thing is like the basically the form, like form in the sense we can say it's essential in the web applications for the collecting the user input and enabling the searches and making the payments. Okay, and the make sure that the react in the react the form handling differs from the plain html as relies on the state management. Okay, and that to manage that input efficiently. So here you can see, so we have handling the input using that state in the react. Okay, but in the html you can see there is no, like suppose we don't have access to handle that using the state. Okay, yeah, so basically we have the types of the component in the forms. Okay, so we have the types. So here we'll create the new thing. So there is a types of the component, types of the components. Okay, for the form. Okay, these are the two types. One, it's a controlled, and one it's a uncontrolled. Okay, so basically that forms have two components, two types of the components. One, it's a control component, and one it's a uncontrolled component. Okay, control component in the sense basically react directly manage the form inputs through the state. Okay, through the this state. Okay, and every changes in the input that update the state, and UI reflect the current state. Okay, here, so the thing is like the basically for example, so here in this state we are like basically we are updating the data in this state, set state, and we are using to make we are using to show the UI using this current state. Okay, suppose if you want to store the data using that using that set state function, and suppose if you want to store in the UI, so then we have to use this current state. Okay, the basically that control component in the sense it's a react directly manage the form inputs to these states, and every changes in input update the state, and that UI reflect the current state. And the second thing, there is uncontrolled. Okay, uncontrolled component in the sense basically, so in the control component we have seen that state. Okay, but in the uncontrolled component, instead of this state, so the react uses the reps. Okay, references we can say, reps. Here you can see that the state, and uncontrolled here instead of the state the react uses the reps to directly access the DOM element. So basically we are using the rep, okay, to add directly accessing the DOM elements. Okay, and the input value are read when the needed, not on every changes. Okay, so these are the two things we can see in the form. There is a one thing, there is a control component, and there is a one more thing, it's an uncontrolled component. Okay, The thing is like, so we'll go in deeper in that control component. So there is a control component, control component, components. Okay. So basically that control component in the sense in the React.js already we have told regarding the React state, but the thing is like the component is the form element. Okay, form element in the sense you can take that input, okay, and the text area, okay, and they can take that select. Okay, the thing is like, so basically that control component is the form element. So there is called input and text area and that select. So these are the things we can say it's a form elements. Okay, where the React state manage the its value, right? Instead of the form element managing its own state internally, so its value is controlled by the React to the state variable. So here you can see, so here we are handling the state, here we are using that state actually. So basically this value is controlled by the React through the state. So this state we are using, so here we need to add value is equal to this current state. Okay, in the more simpler term I can say the thing is like basically the source of the truth for the form input is the React component state. Okay, just you can understand the React component state. We need the React component state for the control component. Okay, the thing is like that every time that user type with the input, okay, it triggers an event and update the state, so which is turn update the input value. Okay, so we can set the simpler term. So just you can make sure that the React component state for the control component. The thing is like, so we are using the control component. So the thing is like there is one question called why we need that control component. Okay, so why we need in the sense, the first thing I can say, it's a predictable state. Okay, the predictable state in the sense the React handles the state, okay, making it easier to debug and test. Okay, and the next thing, there is a form validation. So form validation in the sense, we can say it's a real-time validation becomes easier as the data like data is in the state, we can say. The form validation in the sense basically we can sorry, I will show you one thing. There is a form validation, so the like it will show the error kind of things. Okay, React, so I will show the image. Yeah, so these are the things we can say it's a form validation. Suppose like the mandatory fields, okay, and that only number we have to add. Okay, so these are the things we can say it's a validations. Okay, these are the form validations. Here it show like you can see the right side, there is a email ID is required, date of birth is required, select gender is required. Okay, so these are the things we can say it's a form validation. Okay, yeah, this is the second one, it's a form validation. And third thing we can say it's a dynamic behavior. Okay, so dynamic behavior in the sense basically it's yeah, easily show and hide fields. Okay, and we can enable and disable button as well. Okay, and the fourth thing, there is a like one source of truth. Wait, okay. One source of truth means, so basically the data flow is the consistent across the application. So these are the four things we need the control component, like for the control component. So there's a four reasons. The first thing, predictable state. So basically React handle the state, okay, for making it easier to debug and test, okay. And second thing, there is a form validation. And third thing, there is a dynamic behavior, okay. And that fourth thing, there is a one source of truth, means the data flow, the flow is the consistent across the application, okay. You can take one real time example, real life scenario, we can say. Imagine you are building one login form, okay. So basically in the login form, what are the things we need, okay. The thing is like, basically there is a username and password. So basically that login button stays the disable until the both uh, like the fields are filled, both fields in the sense that username and password, okay. And like you want to show the error message if the fields are empty or invalid. For example, here you can see, so here, so the thing is like, 1 minute. You're not able to see those things. Okay, the thing is like, so without typing, so we are trying to submit, okay. So like this is the one real-time example we can take, okay. So here there is a name, that this is a employee information form, okay. And there is a name, email id, date of birth, gender, phone number and country, okay. So here what user is doing, so basically user is doing, without adding the full information, he is trying to submit the form, okay. The thing is like, here we want to show the error message, like this email is required and that date of birth is required, okay. To achieve this, the dynamic behavior, you will need to track the form inputs using the React state. We can say it's a control component. So all the validation, we need to handle the validation using that state only. Okay. Yeah. The thing is like here, so we can create one form for the control component, okay. So we can create one login form here. I'll create here. There is a login form, login form dot jsx, okay. Import react from react const that login form export default, and that we have to use that login form here, okay. So now we have to import in this. So right now our app is running. Here we need to import that login form. I will import, okay. So I want to see that output here first thing. Yeah, so we got the login form, okay. So now here we have to create a login form, in the sense we need the username, password and the one button, okay. Username, password and button, okay. For that thing, so here in the login form, so here I'll create, okay. Here I'll create, there is one form, there is a one form, Okay, in that form uh, we need one label and one input. Label, so label in the sense we need the username, user username, and here we need that input. Okay, so input, so right now we have to add the username. Okay, so just I'm using the type is equal to text. Okay, and next thing we need, yeah, we need that password. Okay, so here I will use the password. Okay, so after that I need one button. Okay, so here that button and type is submit. Okay, so now we need to handle the state. Okay, now we need to handle the state for the input username and the input password. Okay, for that thing I'll create here, there is a const. So right now what we'll do actually, so we have the two components. Instead of creating the two state, I'll create only one state, because of like it's a optimization things, means like it will take some less space. Okay, so for that thing I am creating the only one state. In that state I am storing those two inputs. Okay, just observe, it's a new thing for you guys. Okay, so now I'll use the form data and set form data and use state. Okay, so in the use state there is a one object. In that object I'll store that username and password. Okay, so I have created the only one state. Okay, in that one state I am storing that username and password. Okay, so now I'll do one thing. Okay, I'll add here, there is a value. So value and value I will add that form data dot username, and here the value, the form data dot password. Okay, so here we have added the value. Now we need to use that on change. Okay, so here I will create one function called handle change. The same thing I'll use here, the on change. Okay, for the both inputs I am using the same same function for the on change, because of we have the only one state. Okay, so see, there is a const. Okay, handle change. Okay, so there is a thing basically. So here we need to use, in the name there is a username, and in this name there is a password. Okay, so here we have to create that handle change function. Okay, so in this thing we have to do one thing. Okay, so we need to set that event dot target. Okay, for that thing I'll create the two things. There is a name and value, and event dot target dot value. Okay, here I will update the form state, set form data. Okay, in the set form data, so I'll update that form data. Okay, the name is value. Okay, and parallelly I will do one thing. So in this thing, okay, yeah, I will do later. So yeah, we have handled the input using the only one state. Okay, and we have created the function that handle change, and we have set that form data as well. And now we'll do one thing. Okay, so we'll create the on submit function as well. Okay, on submit. Okay, in handle submit there is a function name, so here I'll create that function called handle submit. mm, Handle submit. Okay, so here I have to use the prevent dot default, and after that, suppose, yeah, so here I will set the form data. There is two things. One, it's a username and password. That username and password. Okay, and I will console as well. Okay, that's the console dot log. Okay, form submitted. Okay, there is a form data. Okay, on submit. Okay, we'll see the what is the error. Use state is not defined. I think we have to define the okay, use state. Okay, so we have the username, so make sure that 1 minute, give me some time. So here I'll use the br, and here I'll use that br. Okay, so there is a username and password. Okay, so the parallelly we have to see there is a username and password. Sorry, so there is username and password. Okay, so now you can see that username and password we are storing in the separate in the console, in the form data. So we are set it that into the in the state actually, and so we are consoling this form data. In the form data we are able to see that that both username and password. Okay, so the thing is like, so here suppose the person want to log in without adding the credentials. Okay, the person want to log in without adding the credentials, so then it should give the error. Okay, right now here it's showing that output as the password is empty and username is empty. Is not a good thing. Okay, so you need to validate the these inputs. So basically here that the concept called we have to use that form validation. The thing is like, suppose if the username and password is not there, then we have to show that error called, so the both fields are required, like that. Okay, so for the error, for if you want to show that error, so you have to create one state called error and set error. Okay, set error. Okay, set error. So here we have to do one thing. Suppose on submit, okay, we have to write this in the on submit. Okay, we need to add one condition. If that form data and that use form data dot username and that form data dot password is not there, so then we need to set that error. Okay, we need to set that error. Okay, all fields are required, like that we need to show. Okay, so now we have set that error like called all fields are required, but we need to show in the UI. Okay, so now like this function is done, but we need to use this somewhere in the sense we need to use below the form. Okay, so I'll use here uh, before the button. I will use those things before the button. Okay, before the button, that error. Okay. hmm. If the like yeah, so here we need to show the error. If the error, so then we need to show that error. So we'll see in the UI what happening. Yeah, so now the thing is like, now we are able to see that error means validation. Okay, so we are not getting that like we are not getting that that console here. See, we are not getting the console here because of, so we have added the condition there. Yeah, the suppose here we have added the error message. If there is error, so then we have to show this error message, okay, in the UI. Okay, so I will refresh the site, and I will do one thing. I will try to log in without adding the credentials. Okay, so here I will try to log in. So now we are able to see there is a error called all fields are required. Okay, and in the right side there is a console. In that console we are not able to see that even empty empty username and password as well. Okay, so we need to make this all fields are required as the red. Okay, for that thing I'll do one thing. There is the style. Okay, style, there is a color, you can see it's a red. Yeah, yeah, so this is the one example for the control component. So what we have did in the control component. Okay, so we have created a two thing, or like there is a two input. Okay, and there is a one error. Okay, for the input we are taking one state, and for the error we are taking one state. Okay, so handling the input, so we have, so right now we are using the two inputs, and here we are using the one state. In that one state we are handling those two user, like two inputs called the username and password. Okay, and now we need to show some error, like means like form validation kind of things. Okay, so here the thing is like, basically, so here what we have the basically here we have created one state called the error and set error, and in this thing we have added the one condition. Suppose if that form data dot username or that form data dot password is not there, so then we have to set this message, all fields are required. Okay, so then we took this error, and here we have shown the that error. Actually, if it is the error, then we have to show this error. Okay, so here we'll do one thing. I'll add some conditions, like I'll add some credential, we'll see. But the thing is like, so basically when I add the credentials, okay, but still we are able to see that all fields are required. So we don't need those things. Suppose I'll refresh it, and I will add some username and password, and I will log in. Okay, and so without adding the credential I'm trying to log in. Now we are able to see that all fields are required. But here, suppose if I try to add the credentials, okay, it should disappear. Okay, it should that disappear, but still we are able to see. Okay, for that thing we need to make sure make that empty. Okay, so where it is, yeah, so in the handle change we need to do one thing, there is a set error, we need to make it as a empty. Okay, okay, I'll try to log in, and now I will fill the things. Now it's disappear, and here we are able to get the that username and password details. Okay, the thing is like, so here we have created the two, like that two inputs. One is for the username, one is for the password, and there is a one button. So we have we have wrapped in the like form tag. Okay, so there is a there is a two things, we have created the function for the on change and on submit. Okay, on change we need to handle that input, on submit we need to show the all the data as well as that error kind of things. Okay, and for the error we have one state, and that input we have the one state. Okay, so this is regarding, we can say it's a control component. Okay, so the thing is like, basically control component. Okay, control component, one more time I will, the control component basically managed by the react state. Okay, so using the state, for example that form data dot username. Okay, and validation like simple and real time we can say, and use cases that dynamic forms or real time validations, conditional renderings we can say. Okay, the best practices for the control component, the basically control component for the forms where the validations where the validations is needed. Okay, so here we require that validation in the form. Okay, so here we can use that control component in the sense, we are using the state basically. um, yeah, so basically we like the first thing managed by the react state only. Okay, so finally we can say that control components make the form handling in the react predictable and that easy to manage by tying in the input value directly to the component state, and you get you get full control over the user interaction, and enabling the validations and dynamic behavior and better data management we can say. Got it? So do you have any doubt in this form data, like form handling and that control component? Preetham and Priyanka?
No, sir.
Okay, what about Preetham?